Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So excuse for the shaky videoing here. I am showing you obviously my desk again, once again, in all of its glory. Look at the tip. It's just terrible, isn't it? Absolutely terrible. And I also now have an overflowing pile to the side. But let's just focus on the desk, because what I thought we could do, as you can see, is kind of getting a bit out of hand here. Just appalling. For those people who didn't see my original messy desk video, that is my camera set up, my so-called tripod, and my camera, you know, my iPad just sits on the top here. So that's what that's about, in case you were wondering. And that is my dry wet wipe that I use for mopping up. It is not a tissue or anything like that. Anyway, what I thought we could do is basically need to get a little bit on top of my mess here. I mean, it must be really bad for me, even me, to be thinking it's terrible. I thought, let's do a week's worth of what's on my desk videos. So let's just see how much stuff we can make and how much stuff we can get rid of from my desk. Now, I suspect probably not a lot. Probably the week will come and go and the desk will still look pretty similar. But let's have a go. So I'm going to switch the camera off so as I don't make you all feel sick while I sort of place it up on, up on the tripod, the so-called tripod. And I shall be back and we will get digging through the pile and pull out some bits and just make random stuff just to get rid of some of these piles. Right, I'm piled up here on my tripod and ready to go. So let's just literally just dig in and see what stuff we can find. This here is just a sort of book page that I use for, leaning on to do distressing and things. So I might as well just, start from the top really. So I have got this craft card here. Basically, it was obviously part of a paper pad. As you can see, it's all glittered on the back. Sometimes I have been known to use my Martha Stewart butterfly punch, if I just grab that, and use the glitter to punch butterflies. I think they turn out really nice. So I could do that with a portion of this. But the other thing that I do when it's got a side that I don't necessarily kind of like, I'm not saying I don't like this, but I wouldn't probably use this, currently in a sort of journal. Then I like to just use this to sort of back tags and things like that. So, I mean, here I've just got a scrap, as you can see, a complete scrap of paper. So I might just literally pop that down there and we'll make a tag, and then we might punch some butterflies from the purple, I think. So but just make sure that I'm putting it where I'm going to get the maximum use out of it. So I'm probably better off using that end, and then I've got these bits here to do some purple butterflies. So I'm just going to cut this down so it's a bit more of a manageable piece. I mean, again, if you're joining me for the first time, particularly if you're not a junk journaler, you might wonder what on earth is going on and why my desk is so covered in rubbish in the first place. Why I haven't just binned all of these bits of, scraps and odds and ends. I couldn't tell you, I'm afraid. I have no idea what is wrong with me, why I insist on hanging on to all this stuff. But if you are a fellow junk journaler, you maybe do similar, and maybe also hoard your stuff and don't really get rid of it. So, right, what I'm going to do is just glue this down, and I'm just going to glue it around the edges there. And then we'll just put, a lot of glue here. So I'm going to sort of line it up there so as I know roughly where to glue. I am just knocking things over left, right and centre here. So please do excuse my shoddy methods here. But I mean, as you could see from just now, my desk really is in need of a kind of big sort out. So yeah, I mean, I didn't especially want to have to sort it out. So I thought, well, let's have some fun with the stuff that's here. And let's see what we can do with the stuff that's here. So I'm just going to spread that like that. Okie dokie. And then we can just cut that down that, and I will just make sure it's kind of glued down there. And we'll just go all around like that. And we'll just make this into sort of a small tag. Like that. Oops. What terrible cutting there. Gosh. Just completely awful cutting there. Don't know what was going on there, but not good. Not good at all. Let's just get rid of those bits. Okay. Well, that looks a little bit better. The other thing, I mean, I could just use this here as like a little pocket at the bottom, and that would kind of use up more of this as well. Just wondering whether I could do that. Although I'm not over keen on that look, because then it's like kind of 3 lines there, which, you know, doesn't look that pleasing to the eye. So I don't think I will bother with doing that. So what I might do is make like another baby tag to hang off of here. So if I just, again, just trim that down, and I just want to make this kind of smaller. So we'll just cut it down here. Just cut it down there. Obviously I will neaten it up once I've stuck it onto something. So again, if I went in there, just trying to see how I can preserve as much of that purple as I can for doing some butterflies. I might be better off using something else to back this one. So let me just see again what I've got here laying about. I mean, now you can probably see why when I say I have got all sorts laying around, I'm not kidding. So let's just back it onto here. Like that. Oops. Yeah, so I thought we'll do this for 7 days and see just what I can get clear in 7 days. You know, it may be that actually it doesn't really make a lot of difference. It probably won't, to be honest, it probably won't. Obviously, I will have my mass making workshop, the usual Tuesday workshop, so I won't upload one of these on those, you know, on that day. But I will still do 7 days. It will just go over 8 days, if that makes sense. So, yeah, all being well, there will be 7 of these videos. You'll probably all start switching off pretty quickly, because you'll just get so sick of seeing the mess and won't be able to bear it, really. So again, any normal person would now throw that into the bin. You know what? I'm hanging on to it just in case I want to make any more small tags of this sort of size, because it would just be obviously, you know, ideal. So what I will do now is obviously just trim my tags. So I'm going to just make a couple of little, you know, tag shapes. Oops. I should have used that trick where you go one corner and the other. I don't very often do that when I'm making tiny tags, I have to be honest. I only seem to do that when I'm making them a little bit bigger. So this one is bigger. It would be more obvious if the corners were drastically different. But when they're tiny, I don't think it really kind of notices too much. So that's those two. And then I've got my crocodile here in my desk drawer. So we'll just punch a couple of holes in the tags. Like that. And then I've got my hole reinforcers. They're hung up behind my desk. So, I mean, technically they're not kind of on my desk as such, but they are around my desk. They are, you know, they're literally hung up at the back of my desk. So, you know, to me, they're just like an essential. They're like the glue, really. You know, they're not necessarily something that needs using up, because obviously you use these and you have to instantly replace them. Is how I sort of view those. Right. Let's just press those down. Okay, so that's those two tags. I mean, I have to be honest and say, you know, I actually quite like them just as they are. I think they look really pretty just as they are. Let me just clip these back. Oops, now that's it. I've done it. Everything's now dropping off. Oh my gosh. And this is behind my desk, you know, on the wall hung up on my hooks, the bit that was kind of vaguely neat and tidy. Right, so I've got other bits here laying around, so maybe we could just stick a label on here or something. So let's just do that. And again, I mean, I know I've said this a billion times. I always just like to chop my labels in half, really, and have them like that. So we'll do that. And I will just ink that up so it's a bit more grungy looking. So I hope everyone's having a good day. I hope you're going to join me for this week's, you know, fun at the desk from hell. Well, it's not the desk from hell. That's the problem. You know, to me, it's the desk from heaven. It's all my lovely goodies. But yeah, I mean, I do realise it is getting out of hand. So hopefully this is going to be a good project, and we can have a bit of fun here, you know, and come up with things that we wouldn't necessarily have thought of previously, because obviously, you know, we're going to just be using stuff that's just laying here. So, you know, we might come up with some other bits and bobs that we wouldn't necessarily have come up with. So I've got this little flower here. If I just, again, this is one of those Mulberry paper flowers. I really like to just take them apart. I like to use them as the big fat, you know, as they are, as you buy them, when doing mini albums and things. But for junk journals, they're better when they're obviously flat. So I like to just pull them apart. Again, I mean, if you watch my videos, you've all seen me probably do this before. So it's nothing new. Let's just, oh, come on. Well, at this rate, I'm seriously not going to achieve anything, am I, in 7 days? 7 videos, and it'll be like 7 things gone from my desk at this rate. So I need to speed up, obviously, a bit. Might use the one with the green on it. And I'm just, you know, I'm just playing around here, but because I'm trying to clear my desk a bit, you know, I don't want to be stingy, kind of thinking, oh, I'm going to hoard something, because actually my goal here is to try and actually get rid of some stuff, you know, use some stuff up and clear the clutter. So got just this stamped postcard image. Again, it was just laying about on my desk. So let's just pop that down there. And we'll just pop that paper flower on. Might just even use my hot glue just to be really speedy. There we go. Just pop that like that, and then maybe finish this off with a butterfly or something. Let's have a look and see what I've got. Oops, what have I got here? I've got a Martha Stewart butterfly that's already been punched out previously. It's glittery green, but it's not really the right green, to be honest. Oops, I've got some flowers there. Oh, I've got a bee here. I mean, you name it, it's here on my desk. So I'm hoping this is going to be really interesting, because, you know, we're going to come up with all sorts of things that, you know, no effort required, because all the stuff's just here anyway. So, oh, let's just pop that on as well. Again, it's just a stamped piece. It was just laying around. So let's get that off of my desk. Just pop that in there like that. And then now what I'm thinking is, because that's like a buff colour, let's just punch out one of the Martha Stewart butterflies, but have it buff colour, buff way up. So I know it's not called buff, it's called craft card, isn't it? But for some reason I started calling it buff colour, and now that's just what I seem to always refer to it as. So should we have that maybe here or something? Or Maybe it needs to be down the bottom to sort of balance that. Well, let's have it there. So again, weirdly, I'm just going to glue this with my hot glue, because I need to be a bit speedy, because obviously otherwise we're really not going to clear very much at all, are we? So, and then what I'm going to do is just go round my tag, rough up my edges. And what I should do is probably at the end of each video give you a, you know, a zoom of what the desk is looking like. I mean, I'm sure that that will be the most boring thing, because it will just look no different. It will just be looking the same. And everyone will just think, why is she showing us that every day? It's just not changing. Oh well. Right, let's just ink this one up like that. And again, let's just then pop something on here, because obviously we've got so much stuff that we're trying to get rid of. Let's put something else on this tag. So this one's obviously going to be hanging off of there. Now I had that tiny, well, it's not that tiny actually, but one of the rosebuds that matches those papers. I mean, it doesn't match perfectly because this has been printed on ivory and this was on white, which, you know, I know that probably doesn't matter, but it does change the look of it, you know, quite a bit. So just going to cut around that. You know, the more pieces that I can just get rid of, the better. I mean, seriously, as if, you know, because have you seen the size of these pieces that I'm using? You know, this is probably like 1 inch. 1 inch. 1 inch long, not even an inch in width. So as if that's going to actually make any difference. Oh, what's going on with my glue? As if that's going to make any difference to my desk. It's just going to look the same, isn't it? So what I need to do is obviously use some of those big bits of paper. I mean, what's happened, oh, I don't know what's happened to my glue, but what's happened with my desk, obviously I've had quite a lot of series, you know, I've done quite a lot of different series on my channel, and, you know, I've talked about this before, but sometimes the volume of, you know, you're filming the videos and then going on to the next project, so, you know, because you want to keep things fresh and give people lots of ideas. And then what happens is actually, you know, well, speaking for myself, obviously I can't speak for everybody here, but, you know, I'm then certainly not necessarily clearing things up as I go, and they're just then left, you know. And then the next project gets started on the video, and then it's all just getting piled up on the pile, never shrinking, you know, never going down, never getting cleared away. So yeah, that's kind of where some, you know, that's my excuse anyway, where some of the mess is coming from. I mean, don't get me wrong, even before my channel, when I was just doing scrapbooking and card making, I can't claim to have had a tidy desk. No way. I really can't. But I think doing videos at quite a sort of fast rate certainly doesn't really help, because, you know, you don't really absorb it and then clear it up. Well, I don't. I think there are people who do. Clearly there are, because I don't see other people crafting in this tip that I craft in. But never mind. Right, just got some string here. So perhaps we will just use some string to attach these together. Again, obviously I'm being very strict and only using things that I have on my desk. I have got this fabric. Kind of pretty, isn't it? Let's just tear a slither, and I do mean a, you know, tiny slither here. Oh, I'm not sure. Well, I guess it does add some colour, doesn't it? So I don't know how that's going to work, mind you. So I think what I should do, if I thread this through one of the, you know, the bigger tag, so we'll just thread that through that one, and then like that. So that's our fabric. And, you know, again, could just ink that up so it looks a bit more grungy. I do sometimes coffee dye fabric, but again, I mean, it's not really the right time of year for coffee dyeing because I like to really do it in the garden. So, yeah, I've made a kind of mission, you know, in my mind that this summer I'm going to really coffee dye. I'm just going to spend my whole summer out in the garden coffee dyeing stuff. Because, and then what I'm doing, sorry, here is just attaching this with a bulb pin through the fabric. Oops, like that. Come on. Like that. So we've got our two tags, but they're attached like that. So that's one piece. One piece done. A couple of things off my desk. You know, a couple of minuscule things off my desk. So let's just go in the same vein. So let's pull in something else. So here, this is some of my vintage notes. And this is actually some that I coffee dyed. And then, again, you know, what's happened is kind of over time, I've ended up using some, not using others. Just checking that I'm in frame and what the time is. Yeah, I've ended up using some and not others. And so what's actually happened is obviously I haven't really got enough left now to do a proper, you know, project. I just have a few sheets of it that have been coffee dyed. So I think what I might do here, let's just make like a pouch, to be honest, because that's using the whole thing, you know, which is great because it's an entire sheet gone then from my desk. And, you know, it will look really nice. So let's do that. Now, again, obviously here I'm wishing I had my sewing machine because I would just then stitch around the edge. I haven't got my sewing machine. So we can either just glue it down here at the edges, which, you know, absolutely fine. Or we can kind of like cut it in and make, you know, fold it so it's a big puffy pouch, if that makes sense. So if we just do that, and that will just show you for those guys who haven't, you know, seen them. So we just do it like that. And then what I do is cut in similar size at, you know, at the top, like that. And then again here. Just like that. And then we'll just open it up and fold in our, you know, our flaps here. So 1 and then 2. I hope that I'm in frame for this. It's really tricky because, you know, when things are slightly longer, I can't see, obviously, where I'm filming. I can't see the camera. So I just have to hope for the best. Right, I think I've mucked this one up a little bit because my triangles are not at all the same size. So let's just come in a bit more. I mean, again, it doesn't really matter. You know, no one's going to be coming out with the ruler or anything like that. So long as it looks, you know, vaguely straight when it's folded, that's, you know, that's the main thing really. So that's those. Now I'm just going to squash them down. I'll just use my scissors. I probably couldn't even find my bone folder if I wanted to be honest. No, I'm joking. Hopefully my bone folder, I did say hopefully, is in my little pot at the back of the desk, but I mean, I wouldn't swear by that. Right. So then what we're going to do, now my glue obviously not really wanting to play the game today, so I have got another one, which I hope is going to be happier. Okay, so far so good. So I'm just going to glue these here along the, like kind of, you know, a bit of glue on the outside of them, if that makes sense. You know, along the outside, and a bit on the inside. And then all you're going to do is fold your piece in and like press your, you know, those flaps down together. If that makes sense. So what's quite good here, quite handy here, is to actually then, you know, pinch it together with like a bulldog clip, or you could use a paper clip or something like that. So again, I normally have a load of bulldog clips hung behind me, but I think what's happened again is they've now probably dropped all over my desk and they're buried amongst all the stuff as well. So I'm just going to use some paper clips because that's what I can see, you know, in front of me. So we just paper clip those down. Now, as you can see, so what's happened here is obviously I've now got this big bit here that will be my flap. So of course I don't want it to look like that. So all I'm going to do is chop it down in the first instance, sort of flush really with the piece itself, and then do the same the other side. And I've only turned it over because for me I'm right-handed, so it's just easier to get to by turning it over. Obviously I could have turned it around that way and done it, but I might have mucked that up if I did that. So that's those pieces. Let me just squash it in a bit more. Hope it's drying well. Let's just squash it a bit more there. Now, obviously you can leave your flap like that. You could cut it in. You could make it roundy. You know, completely and utterly up to you. Personally, I quite like it full width, if that makes sense. So, I mean, I probably would, you know, be inclined to just leave mine like that. Actually, I just spotted that to the side. I'm going to be ruthless and I'm going to bin that. So let's get rid of that. So what you can do now, I mean, if you've got some of those fancy edge punches or anything like that, you could do a fancy edge along there. I have to say, I have got one fancy edge punch, but it does make it very delicate, and then I'm likely to actually damage it. So because this is quite a big pouch, if you see what I mean, I'm planning on putting quite a bit in it. So it's probably better for me to not have a fancy edge, if that makes sense. So I'll just, you know, leave it with just the straight edge, but just round in the corners there. So hopefully that's stuck down now enough so I can remove my bits there. Okay, let me just get rid of my paper clips out the way. So again, obviously on our same old mission is just clearing the stuff from the desk. So, I mean, actually, I'm now thinking that would have looked quite nice on there, but to be honest, I've already used that and it's got hot glue gun stuff all over the back of it, so it's not really ideal to use now. So let's just have a look and see what type of things that I have got laying around here. I mean, to be honest, you name it, it's laying about. Right, so I've actually got this, which I'd made in another video, so we could even have that on there. I mean, that is sort of a bulky-ish piece, but I don't dislike it, I have to say. Or we're better off actually probably making another one of these, because then that would get rid of some more stuff off of the desk. So perhaps that's what we should do. Right, let's have a look and see what other things that we have got here. Just literally going through some bits and pieces that are laying about on the desk. I have got this still from my... Ooh. Just thinking how pretty those red flowers look against that. So let's just tear those. Just thinking if they were inked up, wouldn't they look really striking? So, and again, I mean, I never in a million years would have thought to use these flowers, you know, on there, but weirdly, just something shouted out to me, and yeah, they just looked really nice just sat there. So just going to ink them up. So this is sometimes the beauty of doing something completely you know, off I don't know, off the bat, is that the expression? You know, like where I'm just like completely winging it, seeing what's on the desk, you know, picking up any old stuff, is because you just stumble across these things that, you know, never in a million years would you have put together. And, you know, they just then, I mean, that to me just looks gorgeous on there. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, really, I'm a bit sort of OCD in that I feel that this should go up this way because obviously the pattern is going this way. However, I can't help but think it looks nicer that way with the, you know, the flowers. So I'm just going to have it lopsided. Now, I have got, I don't know whether you noticed when I showed you the desk, but I've got my little glasses of stamps there. I mean, these are from my 3 in 30, so they've been there for absolutely ages. I think they were from the, you know, the week where I did S. So I mean, that's ages ago, like before Christmas. And they're still sat there on my desk, you know. Why I have not cleared them away is just beyond me. But I think obviously I thought, oh, well, I'll leave them there because I might use them for something else. And, you know, I mean, I might have used them for other things. I can't really remember. But, hey, I'm using them today, so that's okay. They've come in handy after all. Because I just thought what would be quite nice is obviously now we've got the red flower, it's quite nice to add a bit more red. So the stamps are maybe like a bit of an ideal way to do that, aren't they? So we could just have a stamp there, and then, I mean, actually that's quite nice. Or, I mean, sometimes they're, you know, really good colour match, the stamps, but they might not be necessarily the nicest pattern. So then, you know, you could just layer them up like that, and then that covers up what was to me a bit of an ugly stamp. I mean, I can't really even tell. Do you know what? I think that's actually hearts on there. So, I mean, it shouldn't really be ugly, but they haven't made a great job of those hearts. They don't look like hearts. They look, you know, not very pretty. So I'm just going to now glue that on to here to cover up some of that, but leave it so we've still got enough of the red showing, if that makes sense. And then here I'm just going to glue this one down onto here like that. Okay, like that. So I'm going to have this one up here somehow, like that. So I'm just going to ink this up. I mean, obviously these are vintage stamps, but they're not necessarily, you know, discoloured. So I'll just ink it up slightly. I'm just going to stick that down there. Oh gosh, look at my glue. Just like covered in fluff and stuff. Let me just grab that now. Oof. Wipe that off onto my wipe. Right, I'll just pop that down. And again, I mean, that helps to just cover up where it said ticket, which was obviously running the wrong way. So that was, you know, a good thing to cover up. And then I'm just going to ink that stamp up as well. We'll just pop that down there. Now I'm just going to tear that bit off as well, because otherwise that was hanging a little bit low. So we can have that. Now, do we want some other things going behind it? Because obviously, you know, so far I haven't necessarily used up that much stuff. So let me just check again that I am still filming and still in frame. Got these flowers, which actually, again, go quite nicely with what we're doing here. So these are on sort of a piece of background. So do I want to actually just tear them and have a whole section, or cut the individual flowers? Do you know what? I'm just going to tear them down. So we'll just tear those. I'll just tear around here, because obviously I've cut these. I don't like that edge. So if we had that, you know, tucked behind there, I'm thinking. like that. So yeah, let's have it like that, and then just going to tear that down at the edge. So let me just ink this up, because obviously that paper's all been coffee dyed, so this looks a little bit pale, you know, by contrast. So I'll just ink all of this like that. Okie dokie. And then we'll just pop that down there like that, I think. So quite like that. Okay, so we've got this paper now, so we can just pop this paper down, and obviously with the, you know, this paper as well. And then I've got some of my book plates and things here as well. So we could do something like that. I've also got these flowers, so let's get rid of a whole piece of paper. So I'll just cut these ones out. Okay. So I'm wondering if we could have that there or something. Oh, decisions, you see. I don't know now. Oh, maybe not. So let me just chop out or cut out this one. So it's just a little flower on its own. Like that. Okay, right, let's have a play now and see where we're going to put some bits and pieces. So let's just get sticking, because then again, you know, I just find it much easier once I've got some pieces stuck down. Okay. It's now stuck to my scissors. No, I wasn't actually stuck to them, but they had got caught in my jumper. So stuck to them, but, you know, not with glue. Not with glue that time. So got that on there. I'm going to just pop this one down here. Oops, come on. I should go back to my other glue, shouldn't I? This one's been resting against my hot glue gun, so it's warmed up a little bit, and you know, I thought it might be more likely to cooperate now. It is a bit better. Right, okay. Let's just leave that again resting against the hot glue. Okie dokie, pop that there. There we go. So I love how that looks. Doesn't that look so pretty? Really, really pretty. And I would never in a million years have put those together like that. Now I've also got this little piece here, so we could just have that somewhere. So let's just ink that up. Okie dokie. Now, of course, I have got some lace as well, so we will have a bit of lace somewhere in a moment as well. And again, I mean, you know, when I say I have lace, I'm talking it's buried on my desk. It's, you know, I haven't pulled it in specially. It's all from my desk ephemera. So I genuinely am only using things from my desk. I have to say, this isn't necessarily to be encouraged, you know. I don't want to suddenly start getting hate mail from families who are now cursed with having to share their homes with people, you know, living in complete and utter mess. Now this one was a little junk journal flower that I made, and actually obviously I mucked it up. I mean, you can probably see it does not look very good, but weirdly that might just be quite a cute little piece to have on here. So again, let me just see what what buttons or centres or anything like that I would have laying about. Oh, not that, not that. Oh, definitely not that. Right, let's have a look and see what else I've got. Yeah, could you imagine suddenly I'd be getting hate mail from all these people who are now living with someone who's just having this complete and utter tip for a desk where previously it was maybe nice and tidy. Wow. I think a lot of crafters are similar and have these messy desks too, but yeah, I don't want to be thought that I'm recommending this tip, you know, but I do find it handy. You know, personally, it is something that I enjoy, is having all my stuff everywhere. Oh, this is so annoying because despite all the rubbish I have everywhere, I haven't got quite the right button anywhere. Would you believe? I do like that flower there, so let's just pop that down. Like that. And I do like this flower. I just need to find something suitable for a centre. Oh, come on. I must have all sorts of things. Yep, I've got some more buttons here. Again, have I got one quite right? Probably not. That's not too bad. Well, that's not too bad. Let's just go for that, shall we? Because I'm trying to get through lots of stuff from my desk, and obviously... Oh, so far I've made one tag. That's not what we'd call getting through lots of stuff, is it? No, not at all, in fact. Right, that's nice, isn't it? So what we could do is, what did I do with that string that I had just now? Okay. What we could do is glue this down like that, and then we could like wind the string around the flower. So let's do that, shall we? So we're just going to pop some hot glue there. Okay. And then, whoops, we'll just pop our flower down. Like that. Okay, so that's our closure now for our envelope, which you could just wrap around and then wind that around the flower, which looks really pretty, doesn't it? So let's just cut that string down. It didn't need to be so long. In fact, I should have probably left it longer, because once that envelope's stuffed with things, oh well, never mind. So that's our closure, and of course let's put some other bits on here, because again, you know, we haven't used up nearly enough off my desk. We were going to put this somewhere, weren't we? Can anyone hear that noise? I have no idea what that noise is. It's, I don't know, I assume some sort of like machinery or something, I don't know. I mean, I don't live in the middle of like a forest or something where they're cutting down trees, but that's what it kind of sounds like. It's like some sort of tree cutting machine or something. I don't know. I have no idea what that noise is, but it was a very strange noise, wasn't it? And quite loud. So yeah, sorry about that. If you suddenly heard that, kind of sounded almost a bit like a cat crying at first. And yeah, very strange noise. Right. Just pop that onto the fabric there. Okay. Oops. Pop that like that. Okay, and then just tear that fabric down. Oops, like that. So a nice thready piece of fabric there. Now I've still got these couple of flowers, which would be good to use them somewhere, wouldn't it? Because, you know, I don't want to just have them left now lingering on my desk. So let's just have a look and see where we could put them. So I might have this maybe, or maybe there. I don't know now, I don't know. Maybe up there. Let's have a look about these flowers. Oh, they're quite nice there actually now. Now we've got this flower on here, so let's ink these up. Like that. Okay. I'm just going to pop that down there. So let's just glue these down. Oh, I don't know what's going on. I've got something else now stuck on my jumper. Threads of some sort stuck on my jumper. So I don't know. Just what's going on. There we go. Right, let's bin those threads. Okay. So we've got that like that. We could, I suppose, put that on there, or we could have it. Oh, I don't know. Let's have it down there. Let's just go for it down there. Right, so let's just pop that down with some fabric glue. Come on. Oh my gosh. This is one of those days, you know, where like everything I touch is just getting more and more messy by the moment. More and more messy by the moment. Okay. Right, there we go. So we're just going to stick that on like that. Now, I mean, I think that's really nice, to be honest, how it is. But of course, can't just leave it how it is. Got to add a little bit of lace or something. Because otherwise I haven't really got enough stuff off of my desk. And, you know, because obviously it just isn't quite the same without a bit of lace somewhere, is it? Now the problem is, everywhere I put that lace, I quite like it. So do we have it here, just a little bit to the side? I quite like it like that. Let me just clean this nozzle off from my 3-in-1, because I don't think that's really helping with the glue situation today. So yeah, just clean that off. Okay, let's now pop that there. Try and tuck that under the flower. Again, I probably should have glued that down, you know, the fabric, before gluing the flower down, but you know, it doesn't matter, it's fine. There we go, like that. And then I'm just going to trim that down at the edge, like that. And of course we can have some bling on here, so let's just trim these pearls down. I don't know whether pearls are necessarily the bling that's right for this, but they were just to the side, so I thought let's just try those in the first instance. So perhaps we'll have those there. Oh, let's just go for those. Really, really trying my best not to overthink this. So yeah. Right, let's... Come on. Okay. Okie dokie. Right, and then we just glue that like that, and then, oh, come on. And I quite like that bling when it's, well, when it's stuck on, you know, is like preferable, but, you know, or stuck onto the wipe, whichever is easiest for the bling. No, I quite like it. I was going to say at a bit of a curve, so it's quite nice when it's not dead straight, because I think that's a little bit boring looking. So the fact that's like curly to me looks quite pretty. It looks more like sort of pearls that are resting there rather than something that's been, you know, specifically placed there. Now I'm just wondering if we want some more lace at the bottom. Oh, probably that's going over the top. So that's our second piece. Now let me just check the time. Okay. Oh, I don't know now where we are with the time, but let's just pop that there. Okay, so we've achieved all of 2 pieces, which is not probably great, is it, to be honest? Not a great start for clearing off the desk. So let me stop my camera and I will show you, first of all, obviously, the 2 pieces that we made. So here we go. Those are the 2 pieces that we made. I will show you the desk, which clearly looks absolutely no different whatsoever. So hold on a moment. And that's the desk. As you can see, absolutely no different. No different whatsoever. So better luck tomorrow, hopefully. And yeah, I hope we're going to do a bit better. So hope you'll join me then, guys. Thanks for watching and see you soon. Bye.